So the general answer is, when we're any yeah but situation, we're looking at with the perspective that there's a right way that it should go for our personal agenda, right? For the character, for the me that we think we are, or the me that we appear to be in the world. That's not who you are. Okay, I probably haven't made that point quite strongly enough yet, but we've still got another half an hour, so I'll make sure I get home by the end. So the you that you think you are can come out of situations not as well as perhaps it would like to. Yeah? So I'm not trying to say that that's not the case. Right? If you go out and walk in front of a car out there and you get hit by the car, there's a chance that you're going to get badly hurt. There's a chance you might not just roll over the top of it and be fine. But there is a chance that you're going to get badly hurt. But the judgment that that's the wrong thing. Yeah, now I'm not personally going to go and choose to walk in front of the car so that I can experience being okay with having a serious injury, because it just doesn't feel like the logical thing to do. But what I am prepared, so that there is a logical look after your physical health thing that goes on. There's also like a logical, I want the people that I care about to be okay thing that goes on as well. But there's also a knowing that first of all, I don't know what the outcomes of certain things would mean to other people or to myself on that level. But then further beyond that, there's actually who I am doesn't have the preference of conditions. Okay, so that's probably the point that I haven't made strongly enough just yet. Okay, so if we think about it, if we think about who we are, if we think about I am, okay, so I am before anything else follows. Okay. It might help to close your eyes for a minute, or you don't have to close your eyes, just sort of look down or something, so that you're not distracted visually. So, when you think about I am before your name, your height, anything else like that, and just for the essence of what you're talking about when you think I am. And just pay attention to that. Pay attention to the sense of being that comes with that. Okay. So that sense of being, if you were to explore it, you might find that it extends beyond your body. You might find that it feels sort of fairly peaceful. You might find that it doesn't have any particular shape or colour to it. You might find that it doesn't have an edge to it. If you sort of follow it outwards, you might find that you can't quite find an edge to it. You might find that it's neither hot nor cold. It's neither hard nor soft. You might find that it doesn't have an age. It doesn't have a gender. It doesn't have an agenda. It's like a space. It's like an awareness, a sense of being. Okay. So that sense of being, that I am, that you're noticing right now, that's who you really are. Everything else is the character. Okay. So that sense of being, does that sense of being have a preference to what happens in any particular way? Not really. Does that sense of being get affected by anything that goes on within that awareness? Not really. So it's kind of like a space, the awareness is like a space. Feel free to open your eyes if you want to. So it's kind of like the awareness that the I am space is like a physical space. Okay, so if we were to think of the space which is within this room, the space which is within this room is no different to the space which is outside of this room. and it actually interchanges with the space that's outside of this room. If we were to like open doors and things, there's, you know, how would you be able to differentiate between the space? There is no difference. It's just that we put walls around it, and the ceiling and the floor. Yeah. So that's kind of a bit like the sense of you. The sense of you is like the space, but you've put the walls of your body and your personality around it, and go around believing that that's who you are. So from that perspective, from the perspective of I am Sarah, I'm Louise, sorry, Sarah, from that perspective, then it's going to look like, well, yeah, but this needs to go that way. But actually, is that who you are? Or is who you are before all of that? Yeah? So, as I pointed to right at the very beginning, we can't win, we can't constantly get better and better and better. We can't keep the conditions that we want to have in life. It's not possible. It literally isn't possible. If you carry on living as this body, the body will start to deteriorate at some point. So it's not possible to just keep getting better and better and better conditions. But we believe it is because that's what we've been taught. So for as long as we believe that the conditions are where happiness, peace, ease come from, then we're constantly striving, we're constantly looking out there, seeking something, resisting something else. This person should be like that, these circumstances should be in place from that perspective of that character. So we're always going to experience at least a little bit of suffering from that perspective. Does that make sense? That's really quite an important point. So if it doesn't make sense, please give me a wink or something so I know. Okay, so, and to me, this is why it's, for me personally, why this is the most important thing for me to understand, is that who I am is not going to be any happier as a result of any particular circumstances. It really looks like that's not true, because the experience of acquiring a circumstance that you think that you want, or getting away from a circumstance that you don't want, does provide some temporary peace or ease or happiness.
Like homelessness, you mean? Because you need warmth and...
Yeah, so if you were homeless and you then acquired a home, you would have the experience of relief of, thank goodness I'm not in those conditions anymore. So you would experience a temporary, probably almost like a euphoric state for a little while, which would then abate and subside, and then you'd feel kind of normal, and then you'd start to go, okay, right, so what conditions do I need now? Yeah, so then we might go, okay, well I've got a home, so now I need a partner. And then the little bit of unease would start to grow again.
Is that because you're looking at other people, what other people have got,
yeah.
or what your parents say is the right thing?
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely. It's just so from the perspective of being a single individual, we're always able to look out there and see something apparently better out there. It's always going to be possible. Yeah. So if that's always going to be possible, there is no way that we can ever achieve enough stuff to keep us happy.